All praise belongs to Allah, the Lord of the worlds. Peace and blessings be upon the final prophet, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who brought guidance to humanity. This is the story of a poor boy whose faith changed his destiny. In a small village lived a poor family. Among them was a young boy named Yusuf. Yusuf was quiet, kind, and respectful. But inside his heart, he carried a big dream. He wanted to become a scholar of Islam and dedicate his life to the Qur'an. However, Yusuf's life was not easy. When he was only 7 years old, his father became very sick and passed away. Suddenly, the family lost their only source of support. Darkness seemed to fall over their home. His mother had to work very hard to survive. Sometimes she worked in people's houses, sometimes in the fields. She endured every hardship just to raise her son. One night, she sat beside Yusuf and said softly, "My son, I want you to become a student of the Qur'an. If you walk on the path of Allah, He will never abandon you." Yusuf looked at her with tears in his eyes. "Mother, do you really think I can become a scholar?" She smiled and replied, "If you trust Allah, nothing is impossible." A few weeks later, his mother enrolled him in a small local madrasa. The madrasa was very simple: a small tin-roofed building, a dusty floor, old books on wooden shelves. But despite its simplicity, it was filled with the light of the Qur'an. The teacher there was a kind man named Hafiz Abdullah. On Yusuf's first day, he felt shy. His clothes were old and he had no shoes. Some students laughed at him. "Look at this poor boy, how will he study here?" But the teacher walked toward him, placed his hand on Yusuf's head, and said, "In the house of Allah, no one is poor." Those words stayed deep in Yusuf's heart forever. Life in the madrasa was not easy. Food was often very limited. Many days Yusuf had to survive on half a meal, sometimes only rice and salt, sometimes only water before sleeping. Yet he never complained. Late at night, when everyone else was asleep, Yusuf would sit quietly in a corner reading the Qur'an. Sometimes tears would fall from his eyes. He would whisper in prayer, "O Allah, make me someone who can help people." One winter night, Yusuf became very sick. He had a high fever, and there was no proper medical care in the madrasa. Wrapped in a thin blanket, he lay alone in the cold. In that painful moment, he thought about his mother. Perhaps she was praying for him somewhere far away. With weak lips, he whispered, "O Allah, if you give me health again, I will study your book even more." After several difficult days, by the mercy of Allah, Yusuf slowly recovered. Years passed. Yusuf grew stronger in knowledge and memorization of the Qur'an. One day, a famous scholar came to visit the madrasa. He asked the students to recite the Qur'an. When Yusuf began reciting, the entire madrasa became silent. His voice was soft, emotional, and beautiful. Many people had tears in their eyes. The scholar looked at the teacher and said, "This boy will become a great scholar one day, Insha'Allah." Many years later, Yusuf finally completed his memorization and became a Hafiz of the Qur'an. The first place he went was his village. His mother had grown very old. When she saw Yusuf standing in front of her, wearing the clothes of a student of knowledge, she began to cry. "My son, have you really memorized the Qur'an?" Yusuf held her hands gently and said, "Mother, without your prayers, I would be nothing." This story teaches us powerful lessons. Trust in Allah can change a person's destiny. Hardship builds strength and patience. The path of the Quran is never wasted. Allah says in the Quran, "Indeed, with hardship comes ease." Every difficulty carries the promise of relief, and sometimes the poorest child becomes the brightest light in the future.